Hey y'all, it's me, Ms. Lizzie, bringing you that YouTube exclusive content, and today we are delving into the standard format on MTG Arena. The deck you see before you is the Simic Aggro deck that Kellen Pastor played to secure a top 8 finish at Spotlight Baltimore. This is a deck that I am personally very interested in going forward into the future of Standard. As you may or may not know, on Monday, November 10th, which will be the day that this video releases, they are announcing new bans for the standard format, and it is almost a certainty that Vivi is going to be banned. What that means for the format is that the current best deck will no longer be playable, and the floodgates will be open for a bunch of new strategies to take hold. This Simic Aggro deck has already been doing pretty well in the face of Vivi, and so I think with that no longer in the format, this is pretty likely to be a top deck. The idea behind this deck is pretty straightforward. You play a bunch of small creatures, many of which make mana, and then you use cards like Tyvar, Ouroboros, and Innkeeper's Talent to grow those creatures to monstrous sizes and make quick work of the opponent. Another interesting facet of this deck is the inclusion of Druneth online or Jackal in paper. I think this card is really powerful. When it first came out, I played a bunch of decks with it, and I found the power level of it very comparable to that of Core Steel Cutter. It really is kind of like a Core Steel Cutter, but for creature spells instead of non-creature spells. And so I think this is going to be one of the best cards in Standard after the bans. What's interesting about Kellen's list specifically is the inclusion of Tyvar, which you don't typically see, as well as these main deck Keen-Eye Curators. I'm assuming the idea behind these cards, as well as the Quantum Riddler, is to be able to play a longer game, assuming that you'll be able to tie up the early game of the Cauldron deck and of Mono Red by way of having cheap creatures that interact well. Another thing that's appealing about this Simic deck is the mana base. Simic is one of only a few color pairs that has both the fast land and a shock land in the format at the moment, and that means that at basically every stage of the game your mana is going to be really good. What that allows you to do is play a utility land such as Soulstone Sanctuary to make sure that you always have enough threats to close out the game. In terms of sideboard, we're mostly going up on interaction. Repulsive Mutation is X, a green and a blue, to put X/1/1 counters on a creature you control, and then counter up to one target spell, unless its controller pays mana equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. This is a really helpful tool against the control decks, as it allows you to grow a threat out of the range of certain things like Lightning Helix, and also at the same time counter a board wipe that would otherwise put a stop to your plans. Aside from that, we have Tashana's Tidebinder, Flood Drowner, and Unable to Scream, cards I suspect are quite good against Mono Red, and Tidebinder also seems pretty good against the Cauldron deck, being able to turn off things like Vivi and the Cauldron in opportune moments. There's also an extra Quantum Riddler, I assume again, for matchups where you just want to be able to play the game late, such as Control and various things like that. A couple Insidious Fungus, to be able to take care of any artifacts or enchantments that your opponents might play. And lastly, Dragon Sniper, which I suspect is very good against the blue-black mid-range deck. So that's the deck, and let's get into the games. And loading into match 1 against Quartzo, we are on the play with Simic Jackal. Okay, so 4 lands is maybe not ideal, but we have a decent curve, so I am inclined to keep this. Started off with our Paw Patch Recruit, makes any of our future threats a little bit harder to deal with. And it looks like right off the bat we are playing against the blue-black deck, so I'm excited to try those Dragon Snipers. I think here it's pretty good to just play the Drowner, tap the Cecil, and get in there. This is going to result in quite a lot of damage for us. Opponent very well might have a Flood Drowner of their own. I think to sort of play around that a little bit, I'm going to play a couple creatures pre-combat so that I have more choices in terms of where I want to put my Paw Patch Recruit counter. Okay, interesting. So it's a Phantom Interference instead. And now we do have a bit of a problem, because if I attack for 4, they'll be at 12, and then Cecil will flip. And I don't think I can allow that to happen this turn, so I'll just go in for 2 instead, to keep them above 10 life on the attack. Alright, well, they have a Shockland anyway, so... Oh, and they don't attack. Interesting. Okay. So I think it's wise to try and get a 3-power creature here that can block the Cecil. And an Azure Beastbinder, I think we're bidding that. We're really at the stage of the game where we just want to find Ouroboros or Tyvar or Riddler, something like that, that's going to close out the game really quickly. In comes the Preacher. We will just let it through, I think. We don't have a very good block on it. It's only 2 damage. If they want to play a Kaito, I think that's fine. Another Preacher, alright. This is getting a little bit dire. Gonna need to find something good here. Alright, we binned a Beastbinder and then drew a Beastbinder. I guess that's how it goes sometimes. It's alright, you gotta believe that there's an Ouroboros on top of your deck. You just gotta believe. At the very least, this Beastbinder can turn off a Preacher, so it's not the worst. We'll take another 2. We do have a Curiosity. It's fine. Alright, we drew a land. Not looking too good. I could attack and turn off the Curiosity, but they do actually have a good block on it, which is really unfortunate. Because Beastbinder can only be blocked by creatures with power less than 2, but they do have 3 of those lined up for the block. Yeah, so I don't really see a lot of outs to this situation, but I think I do have to attack and turn off the Curiosity for 1 turn if I want to have a chance, so that's what we're going to do. And I would say that maybe we could still win if we draw Ouroboros on this next turn. Honestly, I don't think even then we'll be looking too good, but... And they're just going to come in with their team. There's not a lot I can do about it. I mean, I think I will take the trade on the Soulstone Sanctuary. And we drew Botanical Sanctum. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for game 1. Our board is very puny compared to theirs, and we have no cards in hand, so I'm comfortable packing it up. So sideboarding against the blue-black deck. I would say I'm pretty interested in the Quantum Riddler. I feel like we are good at deploying everything, and so we're going to end up empty-handed a lot because we have to play a bunch of things to be able to get around all their spot removal and stuff like that. So that one I'm interested in. I think that was a pretty bad showing for Beastbinder. There's gonna be a lot of moments where they have 1/1s to be able to block it. And frankly, they get ahead by just having a bunch of stuff, so I think reducing them to 2/2s is not that important. So I'm gonna cut those. And then, yeah, the Dragon Sniper is the last thing that I'm pretty interested in. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't like the Snakeskin Veil. I think the way we often are gonna fall behind is to them playing important threats like Preacher and Cecil and Enduring Curiosity, and having Snakeskin Veil in our hand in those situations is just not going to feel very good. So I'm going to cut that. Tidebinder seems pretty reasonable. As a matter of fact, let's board in a couple Tidebinders. I've changed my mind. I think Dragon Sniper might not actually be that good. But Tidebinder does seem nice. It turns off Preacher. It turns off Kaito. It turns off Curiosity. It doesn't seem too bad. And I do like being able to play on my opponent's turn a little bit more. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and try that. We do get to be on the play again. Let's see if we can open with an Ouroboros in hand. We cannot, but this hand looks good to me. 1-drop into Druneth. If we draw another 1-drop, we're going pretty crazy. Yeah, this looks about as good as it can be. We can make an interesting play here that I think I will make, which is that we can play the Innkeeper's Talent and then use it to make mana and level it up, which I think is kind of neat. Strategic Betrayal is an interesting one. Okay. So, yeah, let's play the Druneth. If it survives, we get to do some pretty crazy stuff. Unfortunately, it does not survive. Ooh, and we drew an Ouroboros. Okay. That's pretty good. Question is if we just deploy it this turn. The only, like, major punish for playing it would be a second copy of Strategic Betrayal. Like, spot removal is gonna get it no matter what. But we could also try and wait to be able to grow more things. But that's pretty awkward in terms of, like, mana efficiency. So I think I am just going to run it out. And then we want the Innkeeper's Talent to resolve first. And I mean, we have a 4/6 Ouroboros now. If they can't answer this, they are likely going to die. So to me, the upside seems very worth it. Fortunately, they do just have a Bitter Triumph. But that's okay, because... like, they haven't played any creatures. They've done nothing to actually, you know, take me down, so I think it's okay. And then we have an interesting spot, because we have a bunch of flash creatures in our hand, but no real desire to play them on our opponent's turn, because we do kind of just want to start getting counters on them, but I guess it's okay. We can miss one turn of talent. I do want to be able to use the Flood Pits Drowner to tap something down rather than just play it out bare. I think that's worth not having 2 power on it. Unfortunately for us, they do just kind of pass the turn. Okay, we drew another Flood Pits. It's actually pretty good. So I have the mana to be able to level this up to 2 and still play either of my things. So we're going to do that, and then we'll see what they have. I'm guessing it's something like an Enduring Curiosity, which we can tap down with Flood Pits Drowner. Feels pretty good. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I want to cast a 0-point Ballad. That is an interesting one. I haven't really seen that be played. For those who don't know, destroy all creatures with toughness X or less for X and a black. You lose X life. If X is 6 or more, return a creature card. They did for X equals 3. So at least they don't get an extra threat out of the deal, but they do wipe my board and get their Curiosity in enchantment form. So pretty good, all things considered. Karsi Revenant. Another interesting one. So, are we attacking into this Revenant? That is the question. I think we are, yeah. We have to have a bit of faith here that we're gonna draw cards that matter. And so I can't really let them run away with, like, the Curiosity and the Revenant just attacking. Okay, they go for Restless Reef. Interesting. This could work out for us. I could have countered the Reef activation. But I want this to be tapped, so instead I'm going to counter the Curiosity trigger. Although that does kind of walk into Tragic Trajectory a little bit. Maybe I do just let it go. Yeah, I don't want to get my Tidebinder trajectoried here. We will flash it in on end step. Essence Scatter. A bunch of interesting inclusions from the opponent here. I've never seen like any of these cards get played. Okay, Spyglass Siren was a decent draw. I think it's time to level 3 our talent. We're just gonna make a massive pirate here. So they're casting a Curiosity and they're gonna, I see. Cast Curiosity, put a counter on it. Makes sense. Alright, well, my plan is gonna be pretty straightforward here. I'm just gonna level up my talent, make giant creatures, and hope that that's enough. I think we do want to force them to block here. And yeah, hopefully we just draw creature after creature after creature. I mean, every creature is like 9 power minimum, so the Reef is coming in. We are going to let it hit. Of course, they could draw removal here, and we'll be sort of back to square one, but don't have a lot of choices in the matter. We just block, it's the same deal, so. We drew a Tidebinder. It's an interesting one here. Yeah, I guess we'll just pass and try to get them with it a little bit. They have a Tidebinder of their own. Activate Soulstone. Yeah, I guess this is where we Tidebinder. I don't know, this doesn't feel good. Really unfortunate that they had another removal spell there. I was hoping they would just animate again, and then at least their mana would be tied up. But now we're just in heaps of trouble. If I draw something like a Paw Patch Recruit, that would be pretty good. The Soulstone Sanctuary. Yeah, okay. So we are just dead here, unfortunately. Alright, good games. Yeah, having the flash threats did not actually feel as good as I thought it would, mainly because they had a very reactive hand, and so we didn't really get to do anything with our flash creatures and their ETB triggers. So interesting stuff to consider there. Loading into match 2 against Samurai Girl, playing Simic Druneth. We are on the play again. Let's see what we can do. Looks like a Llanowar, looks like an Ouroborid. Pretty good hand. Let's keep. If we can draw 1-drop next turn, it's gonna feel pretty good. Ooh, and we did. Unfortunately we don't have double blue this turn. Yeah, so there was no way for me to sequence my lands to have a second blue mana here. So that's alright. Whatever. We will play the Druneth and move on with our life. Spirebluff Canal is the play, so is this Cauldron. Ooh, okay, so it's mono red. Alright, well. Yeah, I think probably just getting our Ouroboros online, I would think. Don't really see how that could go wrong. Let's do it. So they have to answer us this turn or they're done for. Let's see what they can come up with. Alright, they do have a kill spell. That's alright. Because I have another one. Haha. Yep. Seems to be the right play. Can they answer it again? Okay, they bounce it. Alright, interesting. Okay, I'm happy to draw land here. If I could get one more counter on Druideth, I could double this, but I can't do that this turn, so yeah, I think we're just going to Plot Patch, replay the Ouroboros, attack for 4. We're just trying to race here. This time, if they bounce the Ouroboros, I do get to double it with Druideth, so that could be interesting. Alright. That is what they go for. So yeah, let's have some fun, I guess. 2 Ouroboros, please. And opponent scoops it up. We were probably going to be able to kill them that turn if we hit on our map. Of course they were dead, because then, like, both our threats had trample. So yeah, that was good. Sideboarding. Okay, so I have to say I'm a little uncertain about this Dragon Sniper card. I thought I might like it against blue-black, but upon thinking about it more, I decided I didn't. And I thought maybe it would be good against mono-red, but then I realized that they have Nova Hellkite, which just kills this thing with its ETB, so I'm not sure. There's probably something with it that I'm not thinking of, or I'm just misevaluating in one of those two matchups. But I'd be very interested if anybody knows or has a source on where this card is good, because I'm not certain at this moment. I do think Floodpit's Drowner is good. I do think Unable to Scream is good. Those for sure. Tiebinder's not bad. I think it's a little too awkward. Yeah, it's pretty hard to find spots for it, I would think. Snakeskin Veil, I think I don't really care. And then aside from that, I think Beastbinder is pretty excellent. Quantum Riddler is pretty expensive, but if you can cast it, it's a nice big threat. Curator, the activate ability isn't very relevant, so sure. I think we'll go down the Tidebinder, 1 Curator, and keep 1 Quantum Riddler. I kind of just want to see how it plays out, so yeah, I'm good with that. I didn't look at any sideboarding notes for this deck. I wanted to kind of figure it out as I go. This hand is terrible. Let's mulligan. This hand is a lot better. Okay, cool. We will have to take 2 damage, but that's okay. So we're gonna go Pollinator on 1 and then Druideth 1-drop on turn 2. The question is, which 1-drop do we like better? And also, do we like this Riddler? If we keep 2 Gene Pollinators, then we will have a lot of mana. We're pretty close to just hard casting the Riddler. So that might be alright. I think Paw Patch is certainly more potent as a threat. I think I'll keep the Riddler. I think we'll go like this. It could prove to be not that good if they have, like, the Razorkin. Okay, we drew a 2-drop, which I'm happy about. Yeah, we do have to take 2 life here. Willow Rush Verge makes blue if you don't have a Forester Island. And we need green, so there we go. Do have the Needlehead, okay. But, yeah, this is gonna work out pretty well for us. Play our Druneth, copy a Paw Patch Recruit. Druneth survives the turn, we get to copy Beastbinder. If it doesn't survive the turn, we get a bunch of counters on our stuff from Paw Patch, so looks pretty good to me. Alright, they're going after a recruit. I would say we don't want to put a counter on Druneth. We want to be able to copy of Teardrop. So I think we just load up this other Paw Patch so that we can threaten a block on Razorkin Needlehead and prevent a little bit of damage here. And it seems to me like this is going pretty well. We get to make 2 Azure Beastbinders, attack for 7 this turn, and then also Warp Quantum Riddler to be able to draw 2 cards. So yeah, seems pretty good. Pretty happy we kept the Riddler here. An opponent has a lot to deal with. Screaming Nemesis is as admittedly a good way to do that. but I think at 7 or 6 life we're gonna be alright here. And the question is, do I want to play Riddler this turn? I think that's probably what I want to do. Yeah, so let's attack with everything. We will Beastbinder both their creatures so that they're far less threatening. We hit for 9, and yeah, I think it's pretty good to play Riddler here over anything else. It's a good blocker, it's a lethal threat in the air. Makes sense to me. They do have Vengeful Possession though. Oh, does that kill me? That does kill me. Well, what do you know? Okay, Vengeful Possession. Yeah, that's a scary one in the matchup for sure. And yeah, we are dead here. So fair enough. Sure. If I had made a more conservative play, yeah, I probably would have not died here. So, okay. Lesson learned. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have played the Riddler, but that's okay. We'll go to game 3. Do I want to change anything on the play? I don't think so. I think everything is still making sense. Okay. Vengeful Possession. Got to keep that one in mind. And yeah, looks like another pretty decent hand. We have the turn 1 elf. We have a bit of interaction. We have the Ouroboros. What more could you want? Kill the turn 1 elf. Okay. Our hand definitely looks worse without that elf, but we'll see. If we draw land, that would be great. We have drawn one of the lands. I think we will just leave up Drowner again for something like Nemesis. Nova Hellkite, I'm not happy to see. But it is what it is, so we will tap it down. And now come on, land. Here we go. Ah, shoot. Okay. Did not draw land. So do we want a Riddler and try to hit the land? That's the question. Or just play a 3-drop? Or another 2-drop and guarantee it? I think I will draw a card. The 2-drop doesn't seem that relevant to me. Okay, even a land or elf is pretty decent here. We're taking a bit of damage from the Viper. I'm not that worried about it. Fanatical Firebrand, interesting. It's, again, not something I'm used to seeing. They kill the Drowner, interesting. And another Viper. They do attack. So, what happens here? I will cast my Ouroboros, I'll be at 15. I'll get a 2/2 guy here and a 2/4 guy here. If their last card isn't a kill spell for it, we'll probably take a bit more damage. Be at like 8 or something, and then I can deploy. But them having 2 Vipers is kind of scary for the future. I think I do want to block, actually. Alright, we drew tap land, that's fine. Yeah, I think having 3/3 in play here is good. I do go for the Hellkite, sure. They can attack with their Viper here, which is, well, that's okay, I think. Yeah, I think we have to get Ouroboros happening here. They got 1 card in hand. It is actually an Obliterating Bolt. Man, okay. That's brutal. And at 3 life, I don't think there's anything we can do. We're just dead. Okay. Good games. Loading into match 3 against Leo the Lionheart. We are on the play yet again. 0-2 so far. But let's not let that get us down. I think this hand is fine. It's maybe not as explosive as some other hands have been, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We get to curve a couple of 2-drops into our Ouroboros. Edge Rover is the play. Very interesting. I wonder if this is a mirror match of sorts, but they have a slightly different creature spread. That does seem to be the case. Drew Spyglass Siren. Interesting. It would be high upside potentially to play Druneth here, but our mana doesn't actually really allow us to do that much with that. But maybe it's good enough to just make 2 Sirens next turn. I could see it. I'm noticing already that the sequencing with this deck is pretty hard. There's a lot of choices in terms of what creatures you play first. And frankly, in every single case, I have no degree of certainty that I've made the right choice. So as good as our mana is, we are having pretty significant troubles here. Let's see if Spyglass Siren can help us out with that. Alright, so we found a land, so that's okay. And I think we will Beastbinder their Beastbinder. And we do have the magical 4 mana to cast Ouroboros, so let's see if that's good enough. Let's see if they have their own Ouroboros. They do not. They have a Paw Patch recruit, so... Alright. Ooh, everything is coming in. Well, I'll certainly block with that. And do I want to block with Paw Patch recruit? I think, maybe. Paw Patches make my Beastbinder kind of unfortunate. Yeah, so I think, I think I do want to block this, because otherwise... it has the capacity to turn off my Ouroboros. It's Ouroboros time, I would say. Just go ahead and start putting counters on things. Ouroboros seems like the kind of thing that will be the difference maker in a mirror match. Okay. Wasn't really expecting the Alpha Strike there. Am I afraid of this Xenomorph? Not really. I think it's fine, even if they draw land. I could trade my Spyglass for it. In the worst case. Okay, and they pack it up. I do wonder if they had some Ouroboros of their own that they couldn't cast with 3 lands. Alright, mirror match. What do we want to do? So, I'm thinking maybe Dragon Sniper is actually pretty good here, given that creatures get really large, but not really evasive. So yeah, I think I'm into this guy. Let's try him. I think the other Flood Pit Surrounder is pretty reasonable too. Keen-Eye Curator seems irrelevant. Snakeskin Veil I think is mostly irrelevant. We could just stop there. How do I feel about Tidebinder? I mean, turning off an Ouroboros seems like it could be good. What about Quantum Riddler? Yeah, I think in the event that everyone's just deploying all their stuff and sort of creating board stalls, having Riddler is pretty good. To the point that I might even want a second one. I could see not being too thrilled with all my 1-drops. Like, I could go down a Llanowar Elf. It seems reasonable to do. Is Innkeeper's Talent something I like? Yeah, I think so. I think it's sort of like a mini version of Ouroboros. It's pretty good. And you know what? I'm kind of sold on Tidebinder too. Let's go down a couple mana creatures. Let's play another Tidebinder and try it like that. I think there's a handful of ETB triggers that would be pretty good to counter with the Tidebinder, so we'll break that in and we'll see. Alright, we have Dragon Sniper into Innkeeper's Talent. I feel like that's pretty nice. Ooh, we drew a Llanowar Elf. Yeah, so that does change what I want to do, certainly. Xenomorph. I noticed that Kellen Pastor is not playing this card, which is interesting. I frankly don't think it's very strong, so I'm on board with not including it. I mean, going forward, I think it'll be less important to play Keen-Eye Curator, so maybe you go back to something like Xenomorph. Okay. I wonder if I'm just gonna trade off my Sniper this turn. It would be nice not to, right? Like, if I could get this thing to 4 power, then it's just really good at blocking, but if they had something like a Into the Floodmaw, that would just kind of not matter, so... And we have Riddler down the line to do that job as well, so I'm okay with it. So this turn, we could just try to go for Tidebinder. They might have Ouroboros, so that seems reasonable. We could also level our talent and play Beastbinder. I suspect they do have a Floodmaw. That's like kind of the only reason you wouldn't use your map there. Or maybe it's Snakeskin Veil, but if they Floodmaw my elf on end step, like, that'll suck, I guess. But hopefully they don't do that, you know? Fine with them using the map, not gonna counter there. Mockingbird is also fine. Okay. So they almost certainly have an Ouroboros in hand. It's kind of the only reason I can imagine doing that. I think I do kind of have to deploy my Tidebinder here. I think getting another creature in play is really important, especially if they have the Ouroboros. I need to amass some kind of a board presence to be able to counteract it. Question is, how do we beat a Floodmaw here? It's kind of tough. They have Floodmaw or a Boroid. Yeah, it's gonna be tricky. So they don't go for a Floodmaw here. Maybe it is a Snakeskin Veil then. Could be. So my plan is just to play this Beastbinder. We're gonna have to suffer through one turn of Ouroboros, but then we can turn it off. Okay, they do have the Floodmaw. Pretty smart to wait there. Because now I have no counterplay to their Boroid. Oh, no Ouroboros. Huh. So is it like it's a curiosity, I see. Okay, so that's interesting. I would say I'm less afraid of that. I was more afraid of them making a huge board rather than put cards in their hand, but at the same time I'm not really doing too much, so it might just be good enough as is. Yeah, so I'm just gonna try and get decent things in play. But I don't feel great about this game. Sentinel. Maybe Tyvar can do something for us? I mean, I'm about to be almost dead to their flyers. So we need to do something about that. Yes, I'm gonna go to 1 here. I guess I could block and go to 3, but it's all the same. I'll save them the energy of making the decision. I'm only just now noticing that Kellen's list does not have Into the Floodmaw at all. Pretty interesting. It's very stock to see a couple to 4 copies of this, but he just doesn't have it, so that's interesting. I wonder what led him down that path. But I'm not going to change my sideboarding, I don't think. It all seems fine. Yeah, it seems fine to me. Yeah, I mean, this hand's fine. The mana is slightly unfortunate, but we have Gene Pollinator to make it a little bit better. Alright, so we're just gonna play our entire hand here. Pretty good turn 2. Oh, and they play a Schooner, okay. Yeah, so seems pretty good for us. They're kind of not doing anything here. I like the idea of making my Beastbinder a 2/4, but I think I'll start by mapping on Siren. Innkeeper's Talent, I think that's fine. And then yeah, let's go do this. We'll attack for 4. And then we'll use the map on the Beastbinder. And yeah, I think I'm happy with Innkeeper's Talent on top. This game seems to be going our way so far. I like that we have a lot of choices in terms of which threats to really go in on. Okay, so yeah, I mean, looks pretty good to me. Yeah, let's play the talent. Let's level it up, play our land, and I think we'll keep growing one of our flyers for now. Probably pretty happy to trade my sniper for their Schooner here, if it comes to that. Okay, pretty sure I just fire this up, right? Tap the talent, spread the love with our talent a little bit. Swing out, we'll target Schooner, turn it off for a turn. Alright, Tim, they just go ahead and take the damage. Fair enough. Fair enough. Loading into match 4 against Lincoln. We are 1 and 2 with Simic Aggro on the play for the 4th time today. And this hand... I think this mana situation is too rough. In the deck tech, I mentioned that it's free to play something like Soulstone Sanctuary, but I have to say, so far in these games, it has not felt that free. This is like the 3rd time that it's causing us some problems. I think, yeah, we're gonna have to mulligan this. Sure, this is fine. We need to draw something with this hand to really get going, but I do think it's better than most 5-card hands, so we will put back one of these lands. We have plenty of mana to work with. Basic Swamp. The Timeline color, ooh, okay. So some sort of black aggro deck, that's interesting. Alright, let's play a couple dinky guys. And pray for an Ouroboros, I guess. I think we will just attack with Beastbinder here. And leave up the possibility to animate our Soulstone Sanctuary. Opponent is pretty keen on just killing all our little mana creatures, which I believe I am fine with. They are stuck on 2 lands, so maybe we're just gonna get there with our tiny creatures. Who knows? Soulstone Sanctuary certainly looked a lot better in this hand than it would have in the previous hand, so that's alright. Iridescent Vine Lasher. Interesting. And here they go again. I think I would like to keep my Beast Binder, so I'll flash in the Drowner and then sack it. Innkeeper's Talent, not a bad one. Yeah, I guess I will target their thing. No real reason not to. It might save us a point of life. Alright. Ooh, that's a good one. Top deck an Ouroboros. The board is quite massive now. Opponent is at 4. Gatekeeper of Malakir. Now, what is this card? Target player sacrifices a creature of their choice. I will sacrifice my Beastbinder. I mean, we have nothing left in hand. If they can answer this Ouroboros. It does have 18 power, but that doesn't really matter. We are certainly not, you know, in the clear here. We could very easily lose this game. We're taking 4 damage from every land they play now. That is quite terrifying. Hopefully we just draw some creatures, maybe like a Paw Patch Recruit. Alright, I'm down to 9. And we drew a Sanctum, so yeah, what can I do? I'm dead to them drawing a land. I mean, we get to see our Ouroboros be 60 power, so that's exciting, but don't really know how much that matters. I think attacking is better than blocking here. But yeah, we're dead to a land, so let's see. They did draw the land, so okay. Interesting game. I guess just casting 5 spot removal spells against this deck is good enough sometimes. Not to worry. Okay, so Quantum Riddler seems excellent against all their spot removal. Floodpit's Drowner didn't seem that exciting. I really like cards like Paw Patch Recruit that can make multiple things. Snakeskin Veil seems alright too in that regard. I'm not that thrilled about my flash creatures here, though Drowner does seem a little better than Tidebinder. So I think we will just cut the Tidebinder there. That's probably all the sideboarding we're gonna do. Mono black aggro, of course, is not really a popular thing to do, so makes sense we don't really have sideboard cards for it. But yeah, let's just see how this works. And I am keeping in the Keen-Eye Curators, just because I think being a 3/3 is pretty decent into all their, like, 1 power stuff. So yeah, this hand's probably not gonna cut it. 5 lands is too many lands. This could be fine. Let's try it. If we draw a 1-drop, we can do some fun stuff. There's our 1-drops. So I think, yeah, I think we wait on Druneth, play our Beastbinder. We could, you know, I guess we could hold Beastbinder to try to copy it too, but I just don't know that that is gonna work out. Alright, well, let's play Druneth. Let's play Spyglass Siren. This is all looking pretty good into their Edict effects. If they have some kind of a board wipe, that could be a problem. Something like 0-point Ballad here. Okay. I guess they didn't have a board wipe. And yeah, I don't think anything changes on the draw. Let's just run it back. I could consider something like the Mutation to counter potential board wipe, but I think a counter spell, especially one that requires me to have a creature in play, is just a little bit too narrow to rely on. On the draw for game 3, our hand is really medium, but I think we kind of need an abundance of resources in this matchup. And we are on the draw. There's a bunch of things we could draw to make this hand pretty decent, so I think I will keep it sort of begrudgingly. My thought process is if that if they're trying to just cast spot removal on all my things, I want to make sure I have enough lands to deploy everything. And beyond that, I just want to be able to, you know, provide enough pressure that eventually we can overcome the onslaught of spot removal. We'll go for the Drowner here. It's decent if they have something like Strategic Betrayal. Probably not gonna bother tapping the Vine Lasher, but we will flash it in end step. And then I think we will kick this Paw Patch Recruit. There's a little bit of insulation against spot removal. Ooh, Bloodletter of Aquazots. Ooh, we have drawn an Ouroboros. That is nice. I mean, this card's pretty scary. I guess we might just lose to it. Yeah, definitely might. Means every land does 2 to us, then attacking for 4 in the air, so it's kind of scary. Gonna make me sack something. I think I need to have trample creatures here. Seems kind of important. Could we draw a flyer? We draw another Ouroboros. I'm just not sure that matters. I mean, it's nice. I will take it. But I think we might just die here, because if they have any land, we want this to resolve first. Yeah. And I mean, this is a lot of damage, but it's not enough damage. They have to block with this. But then if they have a land, I'm just dead. If they have a removal spell, I'm just dead. Alright, well, hopefully they don't have a land or a removal spell. Or a haste creature. Hopefully their hand is just terrible. It's not. It is a land. Alright, we have died. Interesting deck. It does seem kind of good against us. Alright, good games. Alright, we are loading into match 5 against Bongus Man 62. We're finally on the draw. Our hand looks pretty good. 1 and 3 so far. Okay. Evendo has entered play. So I assume we're looking at some kind of Kona combo deck. Yep, I'm gonna assume so. Tidebinder is decent into that, I would say. So likely opponent is trying to cast Kona Rescue Beastie and then tap it with their station land and put in something like an Omniscience. And I just have to do everything in my power to not let that happen. The good news is Tidebinder is genuinely pretty good against that because it gets around the Hexproof from Lost in the Maze. So hopefully that will help us out here. Yep, all according to plan. Because it doesn't matter if it has Hexproof, Tidebinder will stop this anyway. And then also turn off their Kona. So not bad, not bad. Of course, if they just remove our Tidebinder this turn, it's all for naught. You know, hopefully that won't happen. Let's just play a bunch of idiots. And just try and kill them as quickly as possible. See what they come up with. If they can't remove the Tidebinder, I think we're looking pretty good. Do you have a Flood Mod? Nope, just gonna be another tap land. Alright. So now we can force them to block. Oh, we drew Ouroboros. Have fun. Well, now they're probably just dead. That was a good one. That was a good one to draw. So let's see. If we just go to combat, put 2 counters on this, and then 3 counters on everything, this will be 6, this will be 4. Yeah, so that's what we do. We do have lethal here, in fact. Just attack with everything. They have 1 blocker. They will take 14 damage. Alright. Thank you, Tashana's Tidebinder. That was good. Alright, let's bring in some more of those, I would say. Snakeskin Veil seems mostly irrelevant. Keen-Eyed Curator seems pretty irrelevant. I mean, a lot of our cards seem irrelevant, frankly. But I think Repulsive Mutation is probably fine. I don't think I want Quantum Riddler. Yeah, I think we'll just bring in a bunch of mutations and try that. I mean, Beastbinder's quite bad too. Actually, yeah, so maybe we do actually just want Curator because it has a decent power and toughness. That makes sense. Alright, let's try that. Noticing we haven't really seen Tyvar do anything. I haven't cast it once, so we'll see. Maybe today's the day. Interesting hand. It's not bad per se, but it's not really good. I think I'll keep. Okay. Drew Llanowar Elf. It's certainly nice. I think I am just gonna hold it though, weirdly enough, to trigger Druneth with. We just want to get into a spot where we can hold up the mutation, although as I say that, they have now just played a Cavern of Souls, meaning that we won't be able to counter the Kona anyway. But there is a chance still that we could counter something they play off their Omniscience, so we'll see. Currently they're missing a way to tap the Kona, so that's the good news. Alright, we are gonna make a massive board here. Yeah, so there's no fear of them being able to trigger Kona this turn, so it's alright to be tapped out. They are just gonna cast the Kona. Okay, okay. Yeah, so I guess what we're just gonna do is we have to leave something back that can block it so that they don't just have attack to be able to trigger it. Like, we want to force them to have an exterior way of tapping it. So I think we actually only attack with the Druneth just to be super safe about it, and then I suppose we might as well level up the Innkeeper's talent, and we'll see. If they have one of the station lands, there might be nothing we can do, but if it's lost in the maze that they're trying to cast, then maybe there's something we can do. Alright, they found the Uthros, so let's see what this is gonna be. Do they have Omniscience? They do have Omniscience. What else do they have? They're starting with a Regent, so yeah, I mean, we're gonna counter this. And hopefully that's the best they can do. Certainly the best I can do, so, you know. Okay, just an Unable to Scream and another Unable to Scream. Okay, we have survived. Alright, well, that was the best I could do. I guess we're just level 3ing the talent and trying to kill them. Let's see what's on top of their deck. Okay, I guess it wasn't good enough. Well, that's interesting. I guess I'm happy I brought in the repulsive mutation there. Didn't counter the Kona, but did counter the Regents, and that was enough to win the game. So there you have it, 2 and 3 with Kellen Pastor's Simic Aggro list. This deck was pretty fun. I like a lot of things that it's doing. I did notice a few times where it felt like our Ouroboroi dying was just the end of the game for us. So maybe there is a different angle to explore with that card and able to be able to, you know, protect it or delay it a little more than I had to there. I also think things like Keen-Eye Curator and Tyvar are pretty interesting into the current meta with the expectation that you're going to play against Vivi Cauldron. So, of course, going forward with Vivi banned, you probably don't want to be relying on a card like that unless some other big graveyard deck pops up. I did feel the missing presence of Into the Floodmaw. I think it is nice to just have, you know, sort of a catch-all for whatever your opponent's doing. It felt like Floodpit Drowner and Tidebinder were trying to fill that role, but couldn't really do it in a lot of spots. So yeah. Definitely still think this is a strong archetype, though maybe down the line you're going to build it quite differently than this. And yeah, we'll just have to see. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, you can expect weekly uploads every Monday, talking about Standard, talking about Magic. That's what we love to do here. See you in the next one.